Hey everyone, it's Simone Watson, and I wanted to give a query update because, yeah. Um, and then also like the thing is, I'm gonna try not to edit this video, so I'm gonna try to just keep it under 20 minutes so that it doesn't need editing. Um, yeah, I've been meaning to make a video. As a matter of fact, I have filmed a few times videos about my query journey since September. For some reason, I haven't posted them, and the level of the amount of almost tears that happened has just varied. Just it's varied, but um yeah, if you follow me on TikTok, you or maybe I mentioned this on no, I'm pretty sure I also mentioned this on YouTube. I was querying my novel 17 Letters for a long time, from November 27th of 2020 to September 1st of 2022. That's when like the last rejection came in. So I was querying that whole time. And then the rejection came in on September 1st, but I saw it on September 3rd, and so then I made a video for TikTok and stuff like that. So I've been meaning to make a video for YouTube where I talk about how my query journey went and like other stuff, and I wanted to make it soon after that journey ended, but I was sad. However, I just sent a query a few minutes ago after not having queried anybody since September. Like, oh snap. So yeah, let's talk about it. First of all, something to let you know is that querying in the 2020s has been completely different from querying before the 2020s. I know this because I queried in 2016 with my first novel, Red Letter Law. Then I queried in 2018. Yeah, I think it was just 2018. Um, so yeah, it's been different in the 2020s. It has been not only slow, like a lot of people have said that querying has been really slow, but also like, I don't know, challenging. So to take us back in time, let's rewind it. So as I said, I queried my first novel, Red Letter Law, in 2016. Red Letter Law was written. I also wrote it in 2016. Of course, I wrote it first and then queried it. Anyway, wrote it from July to November, and then I like immediately started querying because at that time I didn't really understand the concept of revision. Like I was just kind of new to the whole thing. And so after I had queried that for a little bit, I stopped and I revised. Um, and then I queried again. Yeah, I revised it 2017, entered Pitch Wars, didn't get in, queried again, and was just working on that novel. Um, but the other thing that happened in 2017 is that I started a bunch of whips because I didn't know what I wanted to write for Camp Nano. So one of the whips that I started was 17 letters. Um, and I always thought I would change the title, but I didn't. So, 17 Letters is a YA contemporary about a girl who has lost her memory, a black teenage girl who has lost her memory. And so, for her 17th birthday, 17 of her friends and family members write her letters to help her remember her life. Um, so, yeah, I started it in March, like the end of March 2017, and then I set it aside. It was like my secondary project during Camp Nano when I was working on a different thing. I set it aside for a while because one, there was something that I hadn't figured out yet, and two, because my main character has Broca's aphasia, and I was like, she has Broca's aphasia, that's gonna make the writing the narration of it really challenging, so I'll just write it later. And what happened is in 2017, so after I had set that book down in like April or something, I was still revising Red Letter Law and was getting to a point where I needed to set Red Letter Law aside to kind of like put it on the shelf for a while because I couldn't. It was like I was really mired in the revision. And so in December 2017, this shouldn't be funny, but it's very ironic. We don't really know what happened, but we think I overdosed on vitamin D because I took a high dose vitamin D supplement and I lost my ability to speak for about 17 hours. Like, it's not funny, but it was so weird that it was like, huh? And so for me, having lost my ability to speak for less than a day and how frustrated I got so frustrated with that whole situation that I it made me want to return to 17 letters because again the character has Broca's aphasia, which is a disorder that affects her speech, her language, I mean. And so I was just like, now that I have experienced the frustration of not being able to communicate verbally, um, even though I only experienced it for a short time and my character has, you know, a long-term form, I was like, that just makes me want to write that novel again. And then that other thing that I needed to figure out, I was like, oh, I know what I can do about that thing. So I went ahead, started drafting again. I actively drafted for 10 months. I kept trying to hurry up and draft so that I could hurry up and revise, so that I could hurry up and query. Like that was my mindset at the time. But it took me 10 months to draft. So I thought, oh, it took me 10 months to draft. So the revision is going to be fast, right? No. I got into Other Mentor Match. I revised from like December 2018 or January 2019. I revised until May 2020. And then I needed to line edit. So I line edited until October, and then I started querying in November of 2020. Having queried before, I was always the person that was like, I don't mind rejection. Like, I wasn't sad about rejection. Like, I was disappointed, but I was like, it's all good. Like, everything's okay. So at this point, I was like, okay, drafting took a long time. Revising took a long time. Querying's going to be fast, right? No. Which is okay because you learn patience. So from like a few days after I started querying, I got a few days after I started querying, I got my first full request. So it might have been like 2 or 3 days after I started querying. From then to the very end of that query journey, I always had at least one full out. By the time I got a rejection on one full, I would have another full that was out with an agent. So there was like always this glimmer of hope. It was just taking a while, you know. But it would be like that rejection would come in. I'd be like, I have another full. I have another full. It's okay. I have another full. And I will say the mentality, I wanted to like stay positive. And we're humans. So it was like, I was like, yeah, like I don't mind rejection. But like once I got close to like the 1 year mark, well, it wasn't just the 1 year mark. I had some close calls, some moments where it was like, I think maybe this is going to be it. Maybe this is going to be it. And then it wasn't it. And so once I like was getting toward the 1 year mark, I was really starting to get sad. Not because I didn't think it was going to happen, but just because it was taking a long time. So I just kind of started to feel like, oh, this is taking a long time. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I like needed to tell you during the, I approached querying this time in a much more kind of like organized fashion than I did in the previous times. So I was like, I have this like whole list of agents and I'm gonna like use a highlighting system and I'm gonna like do all this. And I mean, it was cool. You know, I had the agents ranked and everything. By like ranked by preference, but like all, yeah, ranked by preference, but they would still be good even if they weren't like anyway. So, um, well, I would say most of them would be good, but if I found out something, it was like, then I would eliminate an agent from the list. So finally, okay, what happened? I'm trying to think if anything significant happened. I did, yeah, I'm gonna leave out some details. So basically, I got to the 1 year mark and I was just like, oh, this is like hard. And then I got to like January, February of 2022. And there was just this whole thing on Twitter. They like these different discourses in the publishing industry. And there was this discourse where so many people were just flippantly stating, like, oh, rejection's not personal. It's all about the market. It's all about money, which I'm not saying that that's necessarily false. It was the way it was being stated. It was so, I don't know. It just felt a little like weird, and people were like, it's not personal. Like, it's never personal. Like, everything's about money. I don't know how to explain it. It just felt kind of weird. And so I just like kind of needed a break from that. So I took a little break from Twitter. But also I was a co-mentor in Pitch Wars, and the February was around the time of the showcase, and I got really sad. And the reason why I got sad is because I felt so disillusioned with querying that I felt kind of guilty sending like our mentee into that same basically the same boat of querying, because I was like, I don't like querying right now. I am not happy about querying. I'm not excited about querying. I actually kind of wish that I could just not be querying. That was something I forgot to tell you. Was toward the end of 2022, I wanted the 2021. I wanted to take a break from querying, but I still had fools that were out, and I didn't know when they were going to come back. So it was like, maybe I'll take a break, maybe not. So I was just like, man, like, I'm really not enjoying this process at all. I know, like, it's kind of like not really the enjoyment, but it was like, I was just like, I'm getting so disillusioned with this process that I feel bad sending our mentee into this same thing, because it's it's just been rough the first couple years of this decade. It's just been a rough kind of thing. Okay. So, but I didn't tell our mentee that I was disillusioned with querying. I was just like, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of you, which is true. We were so proud. We are so proud of him. Our mentee is amazing. Okay. So, and as a mentor, that like success in Pitch Wars does not equate to whether you got an agent or not. That's like a whole thing. You can be successful in Pitch Wars without getting an agent in the like this kind of immediate thing. So finally, some more time went by, and I was like, okay, I am actually taking a break from querying now. I sent some queries in 28, like October, got some requests, but I was like, I'm gonna take a break now. I'm going to stop sending queries. I made an exception a few months later, like in June, because there were like 2 new agents, and I was like, I want to query them, but I got rejected fast. That's okay. And then I did Pitch This, which is a pitch event, Twitter pitch event. I did that in like June of 2022. And nope, I skipped something. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So, brief rewind. Remember how I said toward the end of 2021 I wanted to take a break from querying, but I still had fools out? Yeah. So I wanted to take a break, so I was like, I'll send a couple more in October. But the other thing that happened in October 2021, hopefully I didn't just say 2022, 2021, so like 11 months into the query journey, it was the first time that I cried over a rejection. Like, I got a full rejection after it took a while to get that full back, but I had felt so hopeful about that full and was like, yeah, I'm so excited. And that rejection came back and I just cried. Um, but I had friends who were also querying, so that kind of helped because I was able to like express the feelings to somebody. So anyway, yeah, some full rejections just were, coming in. And so June was when I did the pitch event. Um and after I did the pitch event, I was like, I need to send some more queries because I know I said I was going to take a break, but I should probably send some more queries because I still have that full that's out. And I just like didn't want to send queries. I was like, this is weird, but I was like dreading. It's not that weird. I was dreading sending more queries even after having pitched my manuscript. And it was because I realized I was like, I do not want to open the door to more rejection. Like, I just feel so bleh. I just want a break from this whole thing. Like, I just want to like I just want to stop. But I felt guilty sort of at the same time because I was like, I'm not giving up on 17 letters. And if you did stop querying, that doesn't mean that you gave up. My feeling was like, I was like, I still believe that this is going to happen, that I'm going to get an agent or book deal or both. But I was like, but I don't want to quit. Like, there's just some part of me that is so tired of the process of querying and that is so disappointed that just doesn't want to do this anymore. So it was kind of like a weird dichotomy where you're like, but you want to get an agent still, and you believe you're going to get an agent. You believe that that is what's going to happen, but you're just like, so so what I did was I started publishing a serial, self-publishing a serial on Kindle Vella, and that helped because I was like, okay, this is the beginning of my self-publishing journey. Do I know what's going to happen with my trad pub journey? Not exactly, but this was like July. Okay, so July was when I started writing it. August was when I started publishing it on Kindle Vella, and I've been having a ton of fun with that, and I'm still doing that because it's like now I'm an author. Like, that's great. So that's my job now. But then um yeah, so I had been so funny enough, July 1st was when I started writing my serial that I didn't know yet was going to be serial until like July, like mid July. August 1st was when I published the first episode. And then September 1st was when I got the last rejection of that round for 17 letters. Like, after close to 2 years. Uh, but I didn't see the rejection until September 3rd, like I said. And I was just like, oh. Like, I was sad because I was like, I don't know what to do next. So I told my family because I was just like, yeah, that was the last thing I had out, and it was a full manuscript request, and it's just like, oh, okay. And so on my TikTok, I made a little cake, which helped, I guess. But a couple other things helped. Like my mom, like I told my mom, I was like, I got a rejection. Um, like that's the last thing that I had out for 17 letters, and she was like, she was like, they gonna be like the lady on the Temptations. And it made me laugh because I knew exactly who she was talking about. So there's a part of the Temptations where it's a fantastic miniseries, by the way. I think of it as a movie, but it's like a two-part miniseries. And so there's a part where the group has like a former manager who like dumped them, and so there's a part where they're singing My Girl and they're on TV. So it's like they're super successful now because they're singing on TV, and it shows the manager. And she's like smoking a cigarette, and she's like upset because she passed up, basically she passed up the opportunity to represent them. So when my mom said like they're gonna be like the Lady of the Temptations, I knew exactly what she meant. That like the literary agents are gonna be like, oh man, we passed this up, and it just like it made me laugh. So that was fun. And then we went and we did some stuff, and then we were hanging out with my 3-year-old nephew, and my mom asked my nephew to pray for me, and he's just adorable, and so he prayed for me, and so that was nice also. Um, so yeah, I just like I was just dealing with the feelings. That rhymes. And then after like it might have been the day after Thanksgiving, I talked to my cousin who like doesn't know publishing, but he's like in the film industry, and he was just making me laugh because I was like, I was querying, but like I'm not anymore. And he's like, I don't know what that means. So I was like, yeah, you describe your manuscript and then you send it to literary agents, and then, sometimes they get back to you, or sometimes they don't get back to you because. And he was like, because they hate it. And then that made me laugh because I was like, no, that doesn't necessarily. I was like, that doesn't necessarily mean they hate it. Maybe they like it, but they don't want to represent it. But it was just hilarious the way he said it. Is I was like, dang, like you didn't have to say that. And he was like, do you know how much I get rejected? He's like I said, he's in the film industry, so he's like, you know how many pitches get rejected that I do? I was like, okay, that's real. And so later on, when I was talking about it with my mom, dad, and brother in the car, um, I was like, no, they don't necessarily hate it, because I shouldn't say I know. I've never been a literary agent, but I have read submissions before, and a lot of times I didn't hate them. But as an editor, I didn't hate them, but for some reason, just didn't take them on. Um, but my dad said something that like later on made more sense to me, but in the moment was like, and he was like, why do you care what they think of it if they're not gonna represent it? If they're not the agent for you, like, why do you care if they hate it? I was like, because I wanted to believe that like, oh, they liked it, but they couldn't take it on. But it's kind of an interesting question. It's like, no, I don't genuinely think that every agent that rejects something hates it. Um, but that is an interesting question. It's like, maybe do I need to like not think so much about what literary agents think? Because if they're not the one, then you know, whatever. But I did get some kind feedback in the rejections for my full requests. And, you know, that made me feel happy and excited. So, I mean, it made me feel, I was still sad, but like it made me feel, it kind of cheered me up. It kind of softened I don't know how to explain it, but it was encouraging. So, at this point, yeah, it's been 6 months, and I decided to send one more query today. So I sent it, and we will see what happens. Yeah, but I've also kind of been leaning more into the self-publishing side of things, not because I'm not doing TradPub, but because this is what right now I am putting more of my, I don't know how to explain it. Like right now, I'm working on my serial, and I'm excited to be working on my serial, and I'm having a lot of fun working on my serial. So, yeah, I mean, I can definitely keep y'all posted, when things change, because I absolutely still plan to pursue traditional publishing. At this point, it's kind of like I'm doing the hybrid thing. Um, you know, um, and it's kind of like varying by each project. So, 17 Letters, I think is particularly more suited to TradPub than to Self-Pub. But like some of my other projects, I don't exactly know yet what we're gonna do. So we'll see. But I'm having fun working on the serial, like I said. So it's great when you can have fun writing. That is a win in and of itself. I mean, I enjoyed writing 17 letters. It was difficult at times, but I enjoyed it. And then I had fun writing Tethered. Still need to go back and kind of figure out what to do next with Tethered because that's gonna need some work. But yeah, that's a later problem. Right now, I'm working on the serial. I'm having a lot of fun. And so if you want to know more about my serial, please comment below. Or if you have any questions about anything, please comment below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.